Hey there, Bookkeeping Side Hustle community. It's Kate. So glad to be here. We are in part 2 of our series with the CFO Project, all about advisory services. I hope you were able to catch our first stream a couple weeks ago that was called How to Start an Advisory Service Business. And today we're going to talk about how to double your revenue through advisory services. Our guest is Adam Lean. He's our instructor today from the CFO Project, and he's going to be teaching us. We would love to have folks chime in live if you're watching live. The other critical thing to note is the resource that he's going to be walking through is in a downloadable format, and the link to that is below, but you can also get it at thecfoproject.com/BSH for Bookkeeping Side Hustle. And that lets them know that you came from this group. So if you reach out to them, they'll know that's what you came from. So I think that is, oh yeah, in full disclosure, I said this in our first interview as well. I haven't used their paid training. I have read through a lot of what they do. They have a lot of free content that is great for teaching. So you be sure to grab those resources and check out the download they gave us last week about the 16 key drivers that you can use with your clients, financial metrics to kind of simplify. Well, go watch that video and you'll learn all about that. But that is the intro, and I would love for Adam to just give us a little brief intro before we get right into the teaching.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Adam Lean. I'm one of the co-founders of the CFO Project, and we do one thing. We train accountants and bookkeepers on how to offer advisory services to their clients. Okay. And we love doing it, and we're excited to be here.
Awesome. So, yeah, how is this little masterclass going to be different than our first one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The first one was sort of an intro as to why business owners need advisory services, and then how an accountant or bookkeeper can become an advisory service, and a business advisor. And by the way, we use the word CFO and business advisor interchangeably.
Okay, yeah.
Because those words really don't mean much to clients until you frame it in a way that actually makes sense to them. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this training, we're going to talk about first why a lot of bookkeeping and accounting firm owners are not making the kind of money they should be making. And then we're going to talk about what to do about it, how to actually make the money that you should be making. And spoiler alert, it's by offering something that your clients really want, which is help. They want your help. You're already their bookkeeper. Give them what they need, which is proper books, but also give them what they really want, which is growing a successful business. If you could do both of those things, you'll be unstoppable.
Fantastic. I'm going to actually go ahead and chat the replay from last week. Y'all, if y'all want to grab that, I think you really do need to watch them in tandem. So grab that, open it up in a new tab, copy it to your clipboard, whatever you need to do. And then I'm going to post our, I think we're about to get straight into teaching, right, Adam?
Yes.
So I'm going to post the, in the chat, I'm going to post the link to the PDF resource that accompanies this training about doubling our revenue. So there's a nice document there that would be helpful to grab. You can take notes on that if you print, or and how about I add our slides? Your slides? Ready?
I'm ready.
There we go. Add to stage. While he's getting these slides teed up, if y'all want to chime in where you're watching from, we would love to hear where the folks watching live are from. And remember, that same place, you can just comment with your questions and I'll field them for you. And y'all know from the last interview, Adam does too. I'm a chimer-inner. I chime in. So I'll ask your questions like while we're going through. He was super understanding and kind of flexed his presentation towards the end because we were having a great discussion. And
yeah.
So ask those questions and let us know where you're watching from. So all right, how do we double our revenue? That sounds amazing. I am skeptical about the word revenue. I like income more than revenue. And I told you I was let's find out where in the presentation I'll kind of be the devil's advocate for that
Perfect.
position.
No, I love that.
Yeah, okay, so let's go.
All right, yeah, and please chime in with any questions. That was fun last time. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the average revenue of most accounting firms, okay? There we're going to talk about the number of advisory clients you'll need to double your firm's revenue. So it would be very interesting. How much you should be charging for advisory services. So if you want to offer bookkeeping and advisory services, this is how much you should be charging for just the advisory part. You would add on or bundle your bookkeeping services. We're going to talk about how we define advisory services, because there's a lot there's not really a consistency as to what advisory services really are. And we're going to talk about how we define it and how we suggest you define it. Then we're going to talk about what business owners really want from their advisor. And then the 3 types of advisory firms. So 3 types of bookkeeping firms that adopt advisory services.
Okay.
All right. And then the 3 systems you'll need to add to your firm in order to have a CFO advisory service. So we have a lot to pack in. We're really excited. And just to recap, my name is Adam Lane. I'm one of the co-founders. Over the top right there, Jeff Prager is my other co-founder. We're both former accountants who have built multiple businesses outside of the accounting world. But then together, we came together and we built an outsourced advisory firm. To ensure we were efficient and profitable, we developed a complete system to ensure we were providing real results to business owners, meaning this advisory service helped them grow their business so that the business owner could have a growing, successful business. Now, we were growing really fast because, as you can imagine, business owners really want this type of help. So we created a program where we teach our complete system. Keyword is system here, because otherwise, if we take on a bunch of advisory clients and treat them all differently without a system, it's going to feel like we have multiple part-time jobs. That's not scalable. So we created systems and we teach them to accountants and bookkeepers and other financial professionals so they can offer a scalable and systematic advisory service as well. So the nice part is you can add it on to any bookkeeping or tax or any other service you're offering. We call it the CFO Project. Now, we have this term, and this is sort of a brief recap from 2 weeks ago when we did the first training. Just to recap, we have a term called the accountant's trap, where we feel that most bookkeepers and accountants are. In our experience working with hundreds of bookkeeping firm owners, we've concluded that many of them are stuck in an accountant's trap, meaning the firm owner is trapped working for low fees in a commoditized industry. Because unfortunately, when you ask the average non-financial person, the average business owner, if they could tell the difference between a good bookkeeper and a bad one, most can't. So they view what a bookkeeper does as commoditized, even though we all know that there's a huge difference. All the while dealing with high demanding clients while being burnt out of compliance and transactional work. To make matters worse, we can't raise our fees because there's always another accountant or bookkeeper willing to do the work for less. Not to mention all these tech companies, if you could see me tech quote, out there that think they can get into our space and do the job as well as we can. So this is a trap. How do you escape? And we propose you escape by offering advisory services. And again, I use CFO and advisory interchangeably. So you could do one of 3 things with an advisory service in your bookkeeping practice. Either you can enhance your existing bookkeeping services by adding advisory services. You're going to say, I am different from all the other bookkeepers out there because I not only record your past, I also make sure you have a better future. Or you can upsell your existing bookkeeping clients to a higher margin advisory service. You get them in the door, you do their books, and then you upsell them. Or you can completely replace your bookkeeping work by becoming a highly sought after advisor. We have a lot of people in our program a lot of bookkeepers that hire bookkeeping staff, a team that does the books, and they themselves become the advisor, or they'll white label their bookkeeping work to somebody they trust, another bookkeeper. So we'll discuss how to implement these services a little bit later on, but I want to explain why we propose advisory services is the best way to escape the trap. And there's 5 reasons. The first reason is that most business owners, which make up 99% of all businesses, by the way, crave someone like you, someone that understands the numbers. Because let's face it, most business owners just don't understand numbers. You understand numbers and they trust you. So you're probably the best person in a business owner's lives to guide them to have a growing and successful business. Number two, you can charge way more for advisory than you can for tax or bookkeeping. Number three, your effective hourly rate is much higher because you're charging for your value, how much value you bring to them, not just your time. Number four, you have a bigger impact on your clients' lives because you're helping them with the one thing they really care about, having a growing and successful business. I mean, this is huge. People love, a lot of accountants that we've met really, really want to be helpful to their clients. And they love this part of that. Number five, you want to be constantly looking for new clients since advisory clients have a very high retention rate. You can get off that marketing roller coaster. I still have my very first advisory client from 9 years ago when I started my firm. I'm actually meeting with her on Thursday.
You'll say that's a long time. You've probably have to advise her on a lot different things now. So our skill sets have to change and grow and adapt. And because a 9-year-old business is, I'm guessing, looks very different. So that's
it's just the numbers are larger. The numbers are larger. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last reason, you'll be able to have more of a work-life balance. You won't have to spend days and weeks at a time working really long hours, and you won't be at the mercy of your clients' deadlines in advisory services. Okay, so in the rest of this training, I'm going to show you how to escape the trap. Not only that, but I'm going to show you how to double your firm's revenue through advisory services. This is really cool. So let's talk about the average revenue of most accounting and bookkeeping firms. Now, we're going to first start by discussing the average revenue, and then we'll look at how to double it. So 73%, this number, 73%, is the percentage of all accounting firms that are less than 5 employees. So this includes bookkeeping firms, tax accounting firms, anything that's accounting related. This is the percentage of all firms that have less than 5 employees. This is according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. All right. 250,000. This is the approximate gross revenue generated by accounting firms with less than 5 employees. So 73% have less of all firms have less than 5 employees. Of those, they're generating approximately 250,000 in revenue. Considering all the experience and value an accountant can bring to their clients, this number is pretty low. Hence why most accountants are in the accountant's trap. So to double the average accounting firm's revenue, so to double your accounting firm's revenue, each accounting firm needs to be generating approximately 500,000, right? To double 250,000, you need to generate 500,000 in annual revenue. So how do we do that with advisory services? Let's talk about the number of advisory clients you'll need to get to that 500,000. $2,500. This, in our experience, this is the average monthly fee a client will pay for advisory services. $2,500 a month. Now, the sweet spot of a client ideally suited for advisory services is a client doing between $1 million and $5 million in annual revenue.
Okay.
The average client will pay about $2,500 a month for their service. And I'll talk about how we can command that a little bit later on, but just know $2,500. So if we need to get to 500,000, which is how much you would need to double the average accounting firm's revenue, we divide 500,000 by 2,500, which is the average advisory fee, times 12 months. They stay for a year. In a year, they pay $2,500 a month. So 2,500 times 12 equals $30,000. So to get to 500,000, how many clients do we need that are paying $30,000 a year? 17. 17 is the number of advisory clients you need to double your firm's revenue. Now, even if you didn't want to double your firm's revenue, let's say you wanted to do just 250,000 a year, then you just need 17 divided by 2. That's 8.5 advisory clients. The point I'm trying to make is it's a really small number of advisory clients in order to make a lot of money.
You could, I was thinking you were going to say, like, how much more do you need from those 250 revenue that you were already bringing in? So if you can just convert some of those existing ones, then you
Bingo.
don't need the 17 either. You just need the 8.5
That's
advisory
right.
clients and keep your booking, but you can keep your existing book of business,
That's
because
right.
that's still making money.
That's right.
Yeah.
You already have your existing book of clients. You just, even if you convert a small percentage of those existing bookkeeping clients to advisory services, you could dramatically increase your income. You're exactly right. So, and the beauty of this is, to your point, 17 is all you need to generate 500,000 just from advisory services. If part of that was through bookkeeping or other accounting services, you need less than 17. So 17 is the number of advisory clients you'll need to generate $500,000 in annual revenue. This doesn't include, to your point, any revenue from tax or bookkeeping clients. Now, 83. This is the number of monthly bookkeeping clients needed to generate the same amount based on the average of $500 per bookkeeping client per month.
That's too many.
That is
No
too
wonder
many.
I don't want to. No wonder I haven't made $500,000. I don't want 83 clients.
Right, nobody does. And the beauty of it is, you can find people on your team, hire people to do the bookkeeping while you do the higher margin services, advisory services, and you can be making a ton of money in this profession. This is also how you scale. So let's talk about how much you should be charging for advisory service. We already talked about $2,500, but let's talk about how you can actually command $2,500. Because I know there's a lot of bookkeepers that are listening right now thinking, there's no way on earth that my clients will pay $2,500. I can barely get them to pay my bookkeeping fee per month. So let's talk about how to get clients to pay $2,500. Did you know that half of all businesses fail by their 5th birthday? Literally half, 1 out of every 2 will fail. Why is that? Why do tons of businesses fail? It's because the business failed to generate positive cash flow. So what's needed to have a successful business is not more revenue, not more profit, it's cash flow. Of course, revenue and profit are incredibly helpful to get there, but the number one thing a business needs to survive is cash flow. Why is that? Why do most businesses fail to generate cash flow? Because cash flow is a financial concept, and financial concepts are foreign to most business owners. Think about somebody that starts a plumbing business, and they got into business because their expertise is in plumbing or the trades or construction. A dentist starts a dental practice because they're an expert in dentistry. Business owners are skilled at their craft, and that's why they start a business around that craft. So people who are entrepreneurial and skilled at the craft will start a business around that craft, which means that most business owners are not skilled at financial concepts, namely how to have a financially successful business as defined as generating positive cash flow on a consistent basis. A financially successful business is a business that not only stays in business, but generates this cash flow on a regular basis, a consistent basis. So here's the point. They need someone in their life that is skilled at these. And who in the whole world, in a business owner's lives, is skilled at financial concepts?
Me.
Yes, the financial professional in their life. That's right.
Yes.
In fact, most business owners are begging for someone to be in their life that is. Because most business owners are overwhelmed and insecure of their ability to run a successful business. Yet they are in business because they love the freedom of money and time a business promises. That's why most people love business, owning their own business, because the freedom of money and time that a business promises. So if you, the financial professional, become their business advisor, if you can help them to not only not fail, but have a financially successful business, they will pay attention to what you have to say. Now, we talked about what's in it for your current and future clients, having a growing and successful business. Let's talk about what it's in it for you. Again, in our experience, the average advisory client is worth about $2,500 a month. Now, we recommend you charge your clients a flat monthly fee because we want to charge for our value, not our time. Regardless of how much time it takes us, as long as the client's getting value, that's all that matters. Now, using our system, which I'll show you the system here in just a moment, we're able to service one client in about 4 hours per month. So if you do the math, that means our effective hourly rate is $625. $2,500 a month divided by 4 is $625. And clients will pay the $2,500 a month. By the way, our range is between $1,500 and $5,000. That's what we recommend that you charge per month. The minimum we recommend you charge is $1,500 a month. The reason why clients will pay this is because their business is not a hobby for them. It must work. It literally is the thing that puts food on their family's table. So if we come along and say, I'm going to help you have a growing and successful business. I'm going to help you not only stay in business, but have a thriving business. Again, they're going to pay attention to what you have to say. And all of a sudden, $2,500 a month or $1,500 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever you charge, that will seem like a drop in the bucket because, again, their business must work. I mean, think about your clients. A lot of them are paying way more than that in payroll every week. and they need help. Okay, so our effective hourly rate is $625 for charging $2,500 a month. Contrast that with the average accountant's effective hourly rate. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average accountant's making $90,000 a year. That works out to be about $43 an hour.
I'm thinking about that $250 firm. I was thinking, okay, that's like if they have 5 employees, that's like 50 grand an employee, but that means their staff is making way less than that if like the head person's making 90. Anyway, that's not much. Several employees on 250 is not a lot of money.
Well, yeah, the average was 250,000, and they had less than 5 employees. So the average, it could have been anywhere from 1 to 5 employees. But if we double your firm's revenue, that's $500,000. And let's say it's you and 2 other people on your team.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. Especially if you, as the firm owner, is the one doing the advisory services, then you're making a lot, and you can still employ bookkeepers on your team, and you can pay them a significant amount so they won't leave. So if you have 10 advisory clients a month, just 10, you'll be earning about $25,000 a month from just the advisory clients. Doesn't even include bookkeeping. That means you're making $300,000 a year. But even if we're wrong by half, even if this is like completely unrealistic, even if we're wrong by half, you're still earning almost double the annual salary of most accountants. Now, by providing a CFO and advisory service, you're able to dramatically scale your business while escaping the accountant's trap, where to get paid more, you either must take on more clients or work more hours. And again, you can't raise your fees because there's always someone willing to do it cheaper. Plus, there's a ton of competition, and other companies are trying to automate our job away. But also, by providing a CFO or a business advisory service, you're able to dramatically scale your business while making such a huge impact on the thousands of struggling, overwhelmed, and stressed out business owners. The word thousands is not an exaggeration. There's millions of business owners in the world. There's thousands of business owners in your city or town. I remember meeting a client, somebody that owned a heating and air business, and she told me, she goes, I have 30, and we lived in a fairly small city. She told me there's 3,500 other heating and air companies in her market.
What?
30, I couldn't believe it, but I did some research, and she's correct, because you just need heating and air knowledge and a ladder and a truck, and you're off to the races. Business owners are struggling and they need help. But we need to get as clear as possible as to what exactly advisory services are, and if we're even qualified to provide it. So let's talk about how we define advisory services. Now, again, there's a lot of confusion as to what exactly these services are, but the only definition that really matters is the one you give to a potential client, because you can't just go up to a client, a prospect, or even an existing bookkeeping client, say, I offer CFO services now, it's $2,500 a month. You want to sign up? They're going to either ghost you or they're going to say no because they don't have context.
Right.
So here's the definition that we recommend you give to a potential client.
Okay.
All right. A CFO and advisor is someone that a business owner could trust, someone that you could trust to guide you towards owning a growing and successful business. That's it.
All right, y'all. Take a screenshot, y'all. Right there.
Yes.
Take a picture. It's so forward-looking, and bookkeeping, like compliance bookkeeping, is only backward-looking, and this is all looking towards the future. That's what keeps coming to my mind. It's like maybe why I don't ever use this definition. I'm not trying to sell this service yet. I feel apprehensive about it. I know that I'm supposed to talk like this, and I'm trying to like learn more about this lingo. And I think the people that, the bookkeeping side hustle community, there's a lot of people who are trying to just sort of rub shoulders with the likes of y'all, because it's like, okay, there's this different animal and it pays a lot more. And how do I go be part of that? But a big difference is this idea of backward looking versus forward looking. That's what's jumping out to me as I'm listening to you talk. So it's a simple definition, guiding them towards growing, like a growing business, not like guiding them towards making sure last year's reports are right. And even though it's I got people who are calling me right now and they're literally only worried about December 31st, 2023. Like, they don't even, those people aren't looking for advisory services. They're like desperate. They need a bookkeeper plus, and then they're going to be able to need that advisor, right? Like, or they need an advisor who's going to say, stop messing around and get your books in order, and never again be April calling someone about your bookkeeping. Good grief. So anyway.
So you're right. I mean, this is the definition we recommend that you give to a potential client. Now, notice though, this definition doesn't include any of these words.
Accountant, bookkeeper, reconciliation, ratios, month-end close. No one cares about that.
We all know these things are needed, but on the laundry list, we didn't use any of these words because they don't resonate with a potential client. We all know that when people buy things based on emotion and they justify later with logic. It's why when you watch car commercials, they don't really talk about what's on the inside of the engine and what the materials that make up the car.
Yeah.
No, they visualize, help you visualize. They have two beautiful people sitting there with their dog in the middle, and they're driving over this country's road. They want you to feel a certain way, and so we've got to. We can't use logical words when trying to sell an advisory service to non-financially oriented people. We don't use any of these words because they don't resonate with a potential client. Why? Because on the long list of items that a business owner has on their plate, where does accounting fall? Near the bottom. Mm-hmm. Business owners, they don't care about accounting and bookkeeping as much as we think they should. Somebody that owns a heating and air, I don't know why I keep using that industry, but a heating and air business, if you go up to them, I could do your month-end close better, faster, cheaper than your current bookkeeper. I mean, that's not a compelling message. They don't care about it because accounting and financials are confusing. And when anything's confusing, people are going to just zone out. I mean, I'm not really a car guy, not at all. And when I take my car to the dealership to get serviced and they start talking to me about all the components of the car, I just find it confusing and I don't really pay attention. Imagine how many of your prospects don't pay attention either when you start talking about the features of your bookkeeping service or accounting service. They think accounting and taxes and bookkeeping are necessary evil. In other words, it just has to be done. Somebody can do it. Somebody just has to do it. I don't really care. They think anyone could do the books. Kate, have you run into this client and say, oh, my spouse does the books? And you look at the books and they're just terrible.
Yeah. And then I do a lot of training. That's sort of my passion. And I'm training their wives and their kids. Like, literally, I have couples on, and then like the guy, like many wives. It's really never the husbands, but whatever.
They think an accountant's job is just to file the taxes. But most people don't know what goes into bookkeeping or accounting. They just don't. Plus, business owners are spending their time and energy on running their business. They don't have time for accounting. Therefore, they don't value it. You don't value anything you don't spend time thinking about. This is precisely why the average small accounting firm is earning less than $250,000. They're selling something the business just don't value. Again, value is in the eye of the beholder. Business owners should value accounting. They just don't, unfortunately. So to double your firm's revenue, we must sell something they do value. And what do business owners value? Having a growing and successful business. That's what they value. That's what they think about all the time. So if you want to grow your firm through advisory services, you must provide what your clients really want and value. Again, to make money in this profession and to escape the accountant's trap, you need to be able to command anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 a month for your advisory service. So let's look at why business owners will pay you those kind of fees. Again, as I mentioned earlier, most businesses are small. In fact, 99% are considered small, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. They don't have someone that can help them understand the entire business from a strategic and financial standpoint. They don't have someone that can guide them towards having a growing and successful business. In short, business owners are stuck. They're overwhelmed, they're isolated, they're stressed and confused, and they crave someone they trust, you, to tell them what to do so they'll have a growing and successful business. And if you can help small to medium-sized business owners have a growing and successful business, they will pay you top dollar for this. Why? Because their business is not a hobby. Their business is their livelihood. It must work. It has to work. And if someone like you comes along that can not only help them overcome their challenges, but also help them have a growing, successful business, they will pay attention to what you have to say. And their view of you will shift from being just a recorder of the past, a keeper of the books, to being someone that can help them have a better business. And business owners will pay top dollar for this. And you'll also be able to upsell your other tax, bookkeeping, or other accounting services if you wish. And you'll be able to retain your clients for a very long time. I mean, if you're providing value to them, why would you leave? Why would they leave you? I mean, it's precisely why my very first client is still with me to this day. Any questions, Kate, from anybody before we go to the last section, second to last section?
Yeah, chime in if you have someone. Phyllis had asked a question about getting signed up, but I shared a link with her. So,
perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go to the 3 types of firms.
So these are in our experience working with hundreds of accounting and bookkeeping firm owners who add an advisory service to their firm, there's usually 3 different structures that the firm ends up looking like once it doubles its revenue, once you add advisory services. So here's the 3 types of firms that your firm could end up looking like once you add advisory services. Structure number 1, you have an advisory firm. You have an advisory as an enhancement firm, and I'll explain what I mean in a second. Structure number 2, an advisory as an upsell, and then 3, advisory as a replacement. Now in the first structure, advisory as an enhancement. This is a firm that still offers bookkeeping services primarily. However, they enhance their bookkeeping services by equipping their team to offer advisory services. So whomever on the team is performing the bookkeeping work is also trained in advisory services. You can do both. This alone will differentiate the firm from its competitors. Okay, number 2, upsell. Advisory is an upsell. This is a firm that still offers bookkeeping services. However, they have the explicit goal of upselling their clients to higher margin advisory services. The firm's clients already trust their bookkeeper, of course, and once the bookkeeper explains the advisory service, the client will be more than willing to be upsold to those advisory services. They're like, heck yeah, I need this service. Sign me up. And then number 3, advisory as a replacement. This is a firm that has completely replaced their bookkeeping services with advisory services. The firm owner has positioned themselves as a highly sought after outsourced CFO. And by the way, you don't have to completely abandon your bookkeeping. You just outsource the bookkeeping to somebody else that you trust, or or white label it. meaning you hire subcontract the bookkeeping for your clients, and then you earn a commission for doing so, and your client thinks that your team's doing the books. There's tons of companies out there that will white label. There's tons of bookkeepers that will white label as well. So in any of these three structures, you could double your firm's revenue by adding an advisory service to your practice. Okay, so here's the three systems you need to add an advisory service. So to successfully escape the accountant's trap and to double your firm's revenue, there's one ingredient you must add to your firm. In fact, without this ingredient, your firm is destined to stay small. Your firm will continue to rely on you, and your firm will only make money if you work. Essentially, without this ingredient, you will not be able to escape the accountant's trap. Well, what's the ingredient? It's a scalable system. Now, you must have a scalable system to get leads made up of business owners who need an advisory service. The beauty of this is you can use the exact same process that we teach to get bookkeeping clients as well. But you need a system to get leads, meaning a system that will just generate leads on a recurring basis for you. You also need a system to convert these leads to high-paying clients. You must sell them without feeling like a salesperson. And then you also must have a system for providing the actual service in a way that gets results, because it must work. So a scalable system means you have a method of generating leads on a regular basis. You're consistently converting those leads to high-paying clients, and you're not reinventing the wheel on every new client, meaning you get 3 different advisory clients, and if you get 3 different advisory clients and you're doing 3 different engagements with them, it's going to feel like you have three jobs. That's not scalable. We're saying if you have 3 advisory clients, you're doing the exact same thing with each of your clients. Again, you don't feel like a scalable system means you don't feel like you've taken on a new part-time job with every new client. And you could take on more advisory clients without taking on more cost and giving up more of your time.
Do you find that most on the reinventing the wheel part, do you need to only do the HVAC clients or only do the dentist, or do most of your successful students find that they're also they're not niching in advisory, but they're niching in advisory to a specific subset of businesses?
No, you would think that, but most, and I'll show you the system in just a second. The system works for any industry, any size. You can do the exact same system for a heating and air client that you do for a restaurant, that you do for a dentist office, that you do for a roofing company. It's the same system. Now, when it comes time to getting leads, however, it is helpful to go to a group of roofing business owners and say, I help roofing business owners have a growing, successful roofing business. That resonates more. But you could provide the service. I mean, I had at one point I had 17 advisory clients, just myself. And I had anywhere from a colonoscopy screening practice doctor as a client, a roofing client, a marketing agency, and a heating and air client, and a sign manufacturer. I mean, it was across the board.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the system. Earlier, I mentioned that we developed a complete system for our outsourced advisory firm that provided real results to business owners. This system allowed us to help hundreds of business owners improve their profitability and cash flow by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it allowed us to increase the survival rate of our clients. And this system allowed us to take on more clients in less time, with less overhead, and with less overwhelm. And the system allowed us to earn more money per client than any accounting or bookkeeping service could ever do. All right, the end. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about this. Let's show you the system. Here's the system. We call it the one clear path, because if you were on the first we didn't get to the system, so now we're getting to the system.
Y'all, there is the download of the 16 key metrics at the cfoproject.com/bookkeeping side hustle. /BSH. And on that, in addition to the double your revenue download, there is the 16 key metrics down low, which I think is sort of the same thing as the one clear path, right?
It's incorporated in it. That's right.
Yep.
So we call this the one clear path. And the idea is we call it that because it's one clear path that a business advisor could take to help a client get results. This system leads any size business in any industry in any location from point A at the bottom left to point B at the top right, where the owner, the business owner, understands the entire business, their entire business from both a strategic and financial standpoint, and knows what to do about it. Also, they can have a growing and successful business every single month. Now, the first stage is where you show your client what drives or influences their revenue, profit, and cash flow. Think of your business, think of any business as a machine, like a washing machine. Our job as the advisor is to break the machine down into different parts, we call them drivers, to see what's working and what's not. Like all machines, a business has a purpose. A washing machine's purpose is to wash clothes. A business's purpose is to make money. That's the purpose. If the machine is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is to make money, then like all machines that are not functioning properly, you need to determine the root cause and then fix it. Also, that your client's machine is running at peak performance and doing what it's supposed to do, which is to make money. Now, in this first stage, you as the CFO will measure where the business has been for the past few years for the 15 drivers of revenue, profit, and cash flow. And just like Kate said, if you want to see the 15 drivers and their definitions, just go to the cfoproject.com/BSH. We actually call it the 16 drivers because two of the cash flow drivers we split out to make it clear, to make it more clear. But here we have the 5 drivers of revenue, 5 drivers of profit, and 5 drivers of cash flow. So understanding the drivers, this will allow you to start to put together a plan to help guide the business owner on taking certain action steps to getting and staying on track to having a growing and successful business. We need to know what drives the business. We need to understand the parts of the business. And the second stage is where you and your client will set measurable goals. We call them targets for this year and for the next 5 years for each of those drivers. You'll help your client set targets for each of the parts of their business, the drivers. All of this should be based on the vision your client has for their business. That's key. In order to help your client accomplish their vision of success, we need to find out what that is from your client. How do they define their success? That's where your big vision section comes in. In this section, you're understanding what drives the business owner themselves. It's usually not numbers. Why do they get into business? What do they want? What motivates them? Some business owners may want to use their business to be able to afford to send their kids to college. Some may want to put a down payment on a house. Some may want to travel 6 months out of the year. The point is, we need to know what makes our clients tick. And then the third stage is where you give your clients a simple way to know what's going on in their business. We call it the scoreboard. It's a color-coded scoreboard. We do not show our clients the P&L or the balance sheet. Instead, we take the important parts of the P&L and the balance sheet and color code red, green, or yellow.
I always give my clients the P&L and balance sheet, and they never look at them.
Yeah, it's funny because I think as financial professionals, we think of course it makes sense. Well, it makes sense to us, but to clients, it's like, might as well be written in Greek. Like the fact that profit doesn't add up to what's in their bank account is baffling to a lot of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, so the third stage, we give them the scoreboard. And then anything that's in red or yellow, we show them what to do about it by creating objectives and the next steps. So they'll have a growing, successful business. Also, they'll have a growing and successful business. And then you repeat the third stage every single month. And the beauty of this is what business owners want. They want you to show them what's going on in their business without having to understand financials. They want you to show them exactly what to do to hit their targets, and they want you to show them how to have a successful business. So if the next steps are accomplished every month, then the objectives will be met that you gave them. And if the objectives are met, then the scoreboard will turn all green. And if the scoreboard turns all green, the client will, without a doubt, be on track towards hitting their targets and their vision, which means you'll have a very happy client who you'll likely be able to retain for a very long time. This system will allow you to grow your practice in less time with less stress because you're charging for your value, not your time, because you have a system that's scalable, and because you have a system that works for any business, large or small.
Is that second row there part of like an onboarding day or something, like with a new client? Is it a little more wine and dine, a little more feel good, kind of carve it out and let them have the time to really
You got it.
voice all that stuff? So yeah, I'm thinking about there's always like longer relationship, like more intense relationship building at the beginning of any relationship. So that just checking off that scoreboard, and hopefully the business starts to run smoothly, and then it's like even maybe less than 4 hours a month, and then maybe once a year you redo the longer like workshop. I don't know, you could call it something cool like strategy workshop day or something, or morning, and let them know that. I'm thinking of like some cool gifts you could almost send like before that morning, like today's gonna work, like really block it off, come having done some homework ahead of time, thinking about what you want to do, and then just let them really have the person to talk to about a lot of that stuff.
The beauty of this is we're not focused on numbers. We're focused on them, and they love it. They love these meetings because we're talking about their business in a way that makes sense to them. And we're asking them things like, what do you want for your personal, what do you want for your personal life that your business can provide you? What do you want for your business? Where would you like your business to be within the next 5 years? And we're strategizing it, and we're putting it on an Excel spreadsheet in a way that makes sense. And it adds up to revenue, profit, and cash flow for this year. That's the 1 year targets, and for the next 5 years. And they can see how small changes in each of the drivers can make such a huge impact over the next 5 years. And then all of a sudden, you'll see your client's eyes light up thinking, wow, I can get to, having a $5 million, cash flowing business in 5 years. We just mapped it out.
So the CFO project like gives their students like the templates to be able to make that percent change, because I'm not the dullest tool in the shed, but I would have a hard time building that to where I would feel comfortable like someone seeing it and changing on the fly, and let's change some of these numbers and see what it trickles through. So y'all have that?
Yep. Every one of these 9 blocks here on the One Clear Path, we have templates for. You plug in the numbers and it just works. We have scoreboards, and they're all based in Excel, which is very nice because we all know that Excel is customizable.
So you're not using like what are some of the apps? There's like all these
like Fathom,
like Drav and Fathom and all that.
Yeah.
You don't use that stuff?
No, we used to. We tried out a lot of them, and we even went as far as hiring a developer to create our own software. But we realized that clients don't value any of that. They don't see the back end. What they really value is just the discussion of how to have a growing and successful business. What are my objectives? What are my next steps? And the way we come about creating those objectives and next steps, the clients don't really care. So let's just do something that's easier for us, that's customizable for each of our clients. And so we've always gone back to the Excel for a couple of reasons. The customizability is one. The second is every client's books are just different. Some clients may use QuickBooks, some may use Xero, some may use a proprietary third-party software that's for a particular industry. At the end of the day, though, all bookkeeping software provides a P&L and balance sheet. So we just export those 2 reports in an Excel format, and then we import them into our Excel tool. That's a great question. So just to wrap it up, it's a fact that most businesses struggle. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 5 out of 10 will fail before their 5th birthday, and 8 out of 10 will fail before their 10th. All of that time, energy, and money the owner poured into their business is just gone. All those hopes and dreams the owner had are just dashed, and all the owner's left with is a ton of debt, a ton of regret, and the realization they must go back and get a job. But if somebody like you comes along and offers to help them have a growing, successful business, they will pay attention to what you have to say. Again, I want to repeat, they will pay attention to what you have to say. Why? Because their business is not a hobby for them. It must work. The business owner's livelihood, their ego, their pride, and legacy are all tied up in their business. And if they are drowning and someone comes along with a life preserver, they will pay attention. And if you can offer a life preserver to your clients, all of a sudden $2,500 a month for your service is cheap. $1,500 is cheap. Even $5,000 a month is cheap. It's all about how you position your service to your prospects. There's a saying, people don't want to buy a 1/4-inch drill, they want a 1/4-inch hole. In other words, business owners don't want to hire a CFO. Business owners don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I own a $3 million plumbing company. I need a CFO. Nobody thinks that. But they do want to hire someone that can help them have a growing and successful business. It's all about how you position. And if you could be someone that a business owner could trust to tell them what to do to have a growing and successful business, you also build into your practice 3 critical components to dramatic growth. Meaning, 1, you have a much easier time attracting clients. The message of, I could be someone you could trust to tell you what to do to have a growing and successful business is very powerful. Therefore, you won't have to sell a business owner on this service. In fact, business owners are begging for someone to do this. They just don't know that you or anything like this exists. Number 2, you'll have a much easier time retaining clients. If you're helping your clients have a growing and successful business, why would they leave? They wouldn't. Regardless, in our experience, even clients who are not experiencing dramatic growth will still retain their advisor because they value having someone to talk to that gets it. They crave for someone they can trust to be their guide, their confidant, their sounding board. And 3, you'll have a much easier time growing your practice because you're offering a valuable service instead of charging for your time or commoditized bookkeeping or tax services. You'll be able to increase your fees. At the same time, because you're offering a productized CFO service using a scalable system, you'll be able to service each client in as little as 4 hours per month. Thus, you'll be able to make more money by working a lot less. But in order to provide this service that gets results, you must have 3 things. The desire to help. You must have a real burning desire to help business owners. A financial background. You must understand numbers. If you're a bookkeeper, accountant, you have that met. And 3, a complete system for guiding your clients. Well, if you have number 1 and number 2, we at the CFO Project can provide you with number 3, of course. So if you're interested, we have spent the last several years developing and continually testing systems. We don't just teach this, we use it in our own business with our own clients every single day. Namely, we develop systems to get leads without spending a dime on ads, cold calling, or relying on social media. And by the way, the methods that we teach can be applied to getting bookkeeping leads as well. 2, converting those leads to paying clients without ever feeling like a salesperson or having to be an extrovert. And number 3, guiding clients to have a successful business, a system that will take on average 4 hours per month per client. We'll give you the playbook. We do this in an exclusive membership program just for financial professionals. We only allow financial professionals where we'll teach you step by step those systems, all so you can grow your practice and dramatically increase your income without having to take on more work or spending more time in the office. Plus, we include a 3-client guarantee. We're going to guarantee that you get 3 CFO clients. I mean, if you do the math, if you charge just the minimum we recommend, $1,500 a month, that equates to about a $54,000 guarantee. $1,500 a month times 3 clients times 12 months. So $54,000 in billings. We call it the CFO Project membership program. Becky, she said, using the systems that the CFO Project equipped me with, I reduced my workload by 75% and I increased my income by 50%. This program has changed my life. Jamel, I've been a part of many groups. I've never seen the success I've seen with the CFO Project. In less than 6 months, I've added more than 100,000 in contracts. And Ryan, since joining the CFO Project, it took me only 8 months to leave my day job. And in 2.5 months since leaving, I've already doubled what I was making. So if you're interested, the next step is to speak to a facilitator on a right fit call. We call it a right fit call because it implies it may not be a right fit for you or your business. On this call, we'll learn more about the goals you have for your business, your firm, and we'll see if our program can help you accomplish those goals. And if it can, then we'll tell you more about it, and you decide if it's right for you. We'll give you a tour. We'll show you the behind the scenes of the program and everything. To schedule a right fit call, simply go to the cfoproject.com/BSH for bookkeeping side hustle. The cfoproject.com/BSH. And then on that page, it'll ask you to enter your name and email, and you'll see the calendar. Just schedule a time that works for you, and we'll love to speak to you. So now let's answer questions. I know we have 4 minutes left. What questions do we have?
Yeah, here, I'm going to take this. Well, we'll leave the slides up. I have a question about what is y'all's lead system based on? Where are y'all seeing the best results for, like, what's the foundational, like 2024, where folks are getting those? Like, what's the system built on, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's sort of a hard question to answer concisely because it depends. It depends on who your target client is. It depends on the types of engagements you're offering. I can tell you that we have 3 different systems. We call them strategies. 3 different strategies for getting leads in the program. We ask that you pick one strategy, and then within each strategy, there's multiple tactics. So we ask you, of the 3 strategies, pick one strategy, and then of the strategy that you picked, pick one tactic. Because this sort of indirectly answers the question in that people try to tackle a lot of different marketing strategies and tactics all at once. Mm-hmm. And they don't get traction because they're not really focusing on any one effort. It's much better to go deep in one tactic than it is to go just surface level deep in multiple tactics.
Okay.
And we ask you to use that one tactic to get 3 clients. Once you get 3 clients, then you move on to the second tactic, the third tactic. And then once you've accomplished all those tactics, then move on to a different strategy. Because, by the way, something like we don't recommend Facebook ads, by the way, but a Facebook ad is a tactic. That's not a strategy. That's a tactic. So there's a big difference between strategy and tactic.
And then I guess the question I had said kind of at the beginning, like, what cost do you see the people doing this bear, right? So, whenever I see people talk about doubling revenue, I'm like, well, if I double my revenue, but I, quadruple my costs, like, am I better off? Like, no. So to invest in this, I'm sure there's some sort of investment. There's obviously the CFO project, but you said that y'all didn't use software. So in my mind, that was going to be like one thing, but like a monthly subscription to the advisory apps. But is the increased cost in like bookkeeping staff or contracted bookkeeping labor? Like, do we not? I'm sure, or do we keep all $2,500 a month from each of these clients?
I mean, that's a great question. Let's take it a couple examples. If you're a solopreneur and you have your own practice and it's just you, and you take on one advisory client and you charge them $2,500 a month, 100% that service has about a 100% profit margin on that one service. There's no direct cost involved other than your time. But let's say that you have a team member and you give the team member that $2,500 cost advisory clients. Well, you do have a direct cost now, and that's just the labor involved to provide the service. But this service takes about 4 hours per month. So you pay that person 4 hours per month, and you could pay that person anywhere from $30 an hour to $200 an hour. So let's say you're paying them $100 an hour. At 4 hours, your direct costs are $400. So that means your profit margin, your gross profit margin on your advisory service per month is $2,100.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if it was like, building the army of the people actually doing good bookkeeping, because you can't do advisory on top of bad bookkeeping, and,
right.
Or if it was.
You can. We have an entire module about what if your clients have bad books. Well, you can, but it's not ideal. But you can.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all, the CFOproject.com/BSH, that link will, help let them know that that y'all came from this group. They'll help guide you as someone who is, from someone with a bookkeeping background. I appreciate all that you taught today, Adam.
Thank you.
Definitely is compelling. Y'all download their resources that summarize those key drivers. If you read through that free document and you like understand those words, like you're ready, you meet that criteria of what he said about like you have that financial background. I think that'd be a great test to know. Do those drivers sound like Greek, or do they sound like, oh no, like I learned this when I was 21, like in school, right? Like then that might be a great confidence boost to you to say like I can start doing this. Like they make it seem so mysterious, but no, I understand this. So that I think that would be a really cool way to just sort of test your mettle against what seems to be like a common, the common activity that we're going to have to do as business advisors. So Adam, thank you. I appreciate the time that you gave, the teaching. Y'all are so thorough. Y'all, if y'all have questions, ask him in the Facebook group, ask him here in comments on the YouTube channel as well. We're in both places. So adios for now, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.